Right.
Oh, he's gone. Hopefully he'll be back again in a second.
Decided against it.
We have got the Facebook up and running, which is good fun.
Yep.
Managed to get it sorted last week, so
yeah, I see that. I popped on for a few minutes.
yeah, we I think what it was an issue somewhere with the login on it, so I just deleted it and came back again.
Harry,
I don't know if you can call Marcel. He's trying to call me, but if I call him, I'm going to knock myself off. So I don't know if there's any way you can just see if he's all right.
Will it knock me off on here if I try it?
I don't know. It depends if you're on. Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, then it will. Yeah. There he is. Hopefully we can get him back.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Thank you.
As well. Let's get going.
I've been using Teams so long because my job, I use Teams a lot. I've completely forgotten how to use Zoom.
Oh, that's right, mate. Right. Let's get going.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the D&K Reposs Non League show, and we are here for the next hour. And I'm really pleased to say that my old mate's back after a few awful weeks for him, and he's back with us. So welcome back, Keith.
Cheers, Dave. Good to be here.
And of course, joining us as well are the Sheffield United Vice Chairman Gary, and of course the Assistant Manager Marcel as well. So welcome to you two guys as well.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, David.
No problems whatsoever. And so, Keith, I mean, what we've been up to in the last week or so.
Well, I thought you was going to ask me how my week is, Dave. What I've been up to? Not a lot. Scratching my head. Looking in the dictionary for the word trust. Maybe getting a few things out my back. No, not really. Dave, listen, as you know, I've had a couple of personal issues as well, so that's been more important to me. Saturday, I went and watched a game, to be honest. I went over to VCD and watched them play Ashford. Tommy Warlow, good friend of mine, and some of the old players there, and there was some old people that I know for a long time in the bar, so it's nice to see quite a lot of people there. But yeah, no, apart from that, mate, speaking to a lot of people, getting a lot of messages. And to be honest, trying to support my assistant manager, because for the first time in whatever years, I think it's the most hardest this has ever written. So, he's getting on a bit, Steve, and he's the most loyalist person you'll ever see. So, yeah, no, apart from that, mate, just just take things in your stride.
Did I see today, we're talking about Ashford, did I see they've got, I don't know if it's the right Ashford, because there's two, of course. I did a quick look at it earlier on. But so they've got their planning permission, hopefully put in for planning permission to do up the ground.
I'm not sure which one that was, Dave. If it is Ashford, if it's Ashford in Kent, they seriously need it.
Yeah.
The ground itself's fantastic. The pitch is an absolute carnage. But yeah, it's a fantastic stadium. It's really, really nice. It always has been. So yeah, if they have got that, then that will set them in good stead, because they're in a really good position obviously going into the playoffs as well. So if they can get promoted, then the ground will need some doing up because their crowds will increase as well.
It's just trying. I've just tapped it into the.
Yeah, it is Ashford United, the one in Kent.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that today. I didn't say. I saw it come up. It was they were going through the tunnel, so I did see that today. So that's good news for them as well. And of course, since we've had Billy Wood on the phone as well, bad news for them as well, because of course the council pulled the plug on their new ground, and it's a real shame because, as I say, he was quite confident, weren't he, when he was on the show that it was almost done and dusted, and that was a bit of a smack.
Hey, that's mad, The only thing I don't know. Have you been to Hastings, Dave?
I haven't. No, mate. No.
I think it was split decisions on because obviously the old Hastings people, it is an old traditional ground. They're 3,000 there on Saturday. If they would have won, they would have won the league. So the ground itself can obviously cope with that a lot, but it's pretty similar. It's an old version. It's quite similar to Lewis's ground at the Dripping Pan, but obviously Lewis has got slightly, at both ends, better terracing, even though obviously Hastings have got a humongous stand at the end of their behind it. It's just sort of not a running track. It's quite a big thing around the side, and you can't really get too much on the other side. But it is a huge ground. But if they would have got their new ground, and they would have took off even more. But the only thing I would say, and I know I might be talking wrongly, I don't know all the facts, and Billy mostly would tell you, I don't think it will affect them hugely, apart from if they were going 3G. Because, like I said, the support is off the charts. But when you've got a club on the up, you do want to, they should get back to, as I said before many a times about the facilities of football grounds. The FA and councils, all that say that they're putting this up and this up. They're doing jack shit. Like I said, the facilities that were around Whitstable and all that area are poor. And Hastings is very similar because they've got two grounds next to each other at St Leonard's that they lost as well. And these local councils have got to start sticking their hand in their pockets and letting things go. No disrespect, if it was a set of housing for which they would get money out of, the planning permission would be through and off they go. And I think they're forgetting about the local community at the moment.
But I mean, it could be a big weekend though for quite a few teams this weekend. I mean, present company excluded, but it's literally the likes of Hastings and Worthing as well in the Isthmian leagues as well, and of course congratulations to Banbury on last weekend. But also, there's a big old tussle going on between Bedford and Berkhamsted in the Southern Central as well. So it could be a big old weekend this weekend, and a lot could be decided.
It normally is around this sort of time, Dave, isn't it? Coming up to Easter. Bracknell's already won their league as well. So, listen, it's all good. And if you look at the other end of the table, or most of them and all, it's as tight as it is up the top. There's loads of sides that can go up or down. The only thing that comes a little bit more into play with a lot of the teams in the relegation is this playoff that they might all have to do. Is that no one's got a clue who they could be playing. Just go into the southeastern. Whoever finishes third from bottom there, I think they're borderline. I don't think they're in the top two of the 8 leagues at the moment, but obviously with Sheppey and Chatham already guaranteed to be promoted, they could be playing. And I think in the combined count is the second place team guaranteed to go up as well, either it's Saltdean or someone else. So they could play a side, God knows where, in the playoffs. So that's the only little bit of confusion, and that's at that level. And I think it's the same at the league above as well.
Of course, 2 old friends of the show as well. One is a massive congratulations, and one is devastated for him. One of them, of course, being Terry Spillane and getting promotion with Walthamstow. They'll be up in, some people said Isthmian League, but I've seen some leagues for next year, and they're in the South Central along with us. But and of course the other sad news as well, it's finally happened after a number of years, and our good friend Steve at Romford have lost their step 4 status and have dropped down. And I've had a little chat with him beforehand, and he's, I think he's, I think they saw it coming, but I think they're a little bit devastated, and hopefully he's going to join us next week to have a chat next week. But he's, it's really disappointing to see a club like Romford disappear.
They've done remarkably well over the years to even stay in the league on, you know, what they've done. I know they had their little spell with Glenn, you know, but the people there, Steve, and that have worked so hard over the years, and you do feel for them. But they're a club that's, you know, got a lot of history, and I'm sure they'll bounce back. You know, that they're a club that will always be around. So, you know, we wish them all the best. But yeah, it is sad. But like I said, I think you've got to take more of achievement at what they've done over so many years to stay in that league, because it is a really, really strong league. And you know, I was talking to people the other day about it, and they're going, "No, it's not. It's weak. There's only 3 or 4 good sides in it. We'll beat most of them." And I was like, "No, you won't." So yeah, no, it's you know, it is a shame for them, but I'm sure they'll bounce back.
And all credit to Stephen, you know, and the committee there, really just keeping the club in existence. In all fairness, with the crowds and stuff that they've got, I mean, the work that the committee put in, you know, week in, week out, is, you know, year in, year out as well, has been absolutely incredible.
Well, like I said, the ground share every year, Dave. They're having to spend that money. They can't, you know, we're just talking about Ashford and things like that. You know, their local council won't grant them permission for a new ground either. For years, you know, you can only be nomads for a certain amount of time before, you know, the money pot dries out. They're all aging a little bit. I think, you know, Steve won't mind me saying that. I'm not him, but some of his committee, you know, and they need some help. They need a little bit of fresh blood, and they do need someone locally in the community to come and help them out.
And talking about ground sharing and where they ground share, one of your mates going to get lost the miracle?
Going to get what, mate? Sorry, I broke them.
That is one of your mates, or one of your good mates, going to pull off the miracle in that down at Barking?
I hope so. I haven't spoken to Charlie, Dave, because obviously, you know, it's been difficult. You know, he's been going through it. But listen, he's wealth of experience. They've got a great chance. You know, I really hope they do. I like the chairman over there as well. I know I've gotten well with him every time I've met him, and you know, if anyone can get him out, it'd be Charlie with all his experience. And it's just, again, I was trying to talk about this, and I think Marcel might sort of go with me on this. When they lost Charlie as the centre forward, you know, you're guaranteed 30 goals a year with him. And I know he had, you know, George Purcell's been out injured so long, and they've had a few centre forwards, and I know Charlie Eatley that I took to Whitsport with me, but you know, that can single-handedly keep you up. 30 goals can, you know, when you're down the bottom, added onto your total, they can win your games when you're 0-0 and you're getting hammered by someone, and you go away and you've got someone that can just score, and they've missed him massively. And, you know, I know we all tipped them to actually get promoted or win the league. So it might just tell you the sort of quality that they've got in that squad. But I'm keeping everything crossed for them that he does, you know, keep them up, and I think he will.
I mean, guys, do you keep in Gary and Marcel? Do you watch what's going on in the step above?
Yeah, from my perspective, I keep an eye on all leagues. You know, for many reasons. One being that you're looking always for players. You know, it's a good opportunity to scout for players and see, you know, how they get on other clubs. I mean, I remember when Keith was at Whitstable, we spoke quite regularly, didn't we, Keith? I think at some stage we even exchanged a few players with Luke and Liam, you know, going vice versa. So yeah, absolutely. We've got good knowledge of our local areas, you know, Ishman side, Central and South East is particularly what we keep our eye on, yeah.
I mean, one of the other leagues, before we come on to Sheppey and that, but I mean, one of the other leagues that I've been keeping a close eye on because of a bit of work that I've been doing for Enfield Town and Ware and others, is this Isthmian Prem, and this is going right down to the wire. And I mean, I'm just looking here. Worthing could take the title this weekend if they win, or of course if Bishop Stortford or Enfield drop points. But then you look underneath, and it's Bishop Stortford played 38-78, Enfield 38-77, Hornchurch 37-72, Lewis 38-67, Folkestone of Exeter 38-67, and then Cheshunt 36-65. So Cheshunt have got 2 games in hand. Win those, they then jump up into that playoff zone. But of course, one of their games in hand is this week is Hornchurch. And of course, I think they've got Lewis to play next after that on Saturday, and then I think they get a week's grace, and then they've got to play what Craig has always told me is their bit of their bogey side in Bishop Stortford as well. So they've got sort of 3 of the teams above them that they've got to play as well. But then you look at that and think, well, how tight is that? But then you look and you spin it round and look at the other end. You know, Leatherhead 38-31, Cray 38-32, East Thurrock 38-33, Brightlingsea 38-33, Mersham 37-33. I mean,
it's tight. If it, like you said, going back to Craig though at Cheshunt, he has got some tough games, but they are in his hands. And you know what he's like. You know, and the others are still. You know, I don't. You know, that league is so tough. You can't take granted if you're playing for a team that are in the top 4 or the bottom 2, because everyone beats them, and they're showing that. You know, what was it? 6 weeks ago, everyone wrote East Thurrock, Leatherhead, and you know, you could even say Crayoff, and they've all got a great chance. The 2 teams I'm worried about is Mersham and Brightlingsea. I know Brightlingsea is your favourite, but
Leatherhead have won the last 3 games as well, haven't they?
Yeah,
they have since Luke's gone in there.
Yeah, he's done a really good job, that guy.
He has, but we always find at that level a team that's sitting like you think mid-table with like 3 months to go and safe, always just somehow just jump on the old slippery slope, and they get pulled into it, and they Mersham and Brightlingsea have, Dave, and you know I wouldn't be surprised if you know, I think Cray's, you know, I think that they playing each other. I think 2 of the bottom sides.
Yeah, Cray have got Enfield Town at Enfield on Friday, so I know they've got that. Let's just have a quick look at Cray, who they've got. Just give me 2 seconds, and we'll. You know,
Cray have just brought
Neil Smith.
Oh, Neil Smith in, ain't they, from Bromley, as you had, you know, and that just shows the you know what they're trying to achieve. You know, just for them last few games. And I just, you know, you might just think Ramsgate have just brought Steve Lovell into the end of the year. Exactly the same, just so they can maybe get through the playoffs. But they've got humongous games for the playoff in our league as well.
I mean, Cray's fixtures, you know, not being you look at Cray's fixtures.
They've got Hornchurch on Sunday, haven't they?
Who gave them? You know, like, you know, when you look back, Hornchurch at home on Sunday, as you said, Enfield away, then during the on the Good Friday. East Thurrock in the big 6-pointer, you know, on the 20th, and that's an evening game. And then they finish the season at Bishop Stortford. Of course, if they carry on winning, Enfield carry on winning, they'll be looking to grab that 2nd place and, you know, the certain home tie for the final and the semi-final. So it's their fixtures ain't nice, you know, for Cray, I'll be honest. But let's have a quick look at Brightlingsea. Brightlinsea's fixtures, what they've got left. They've got Enfield Town away on Saturday. Then theirs ain't much better either, in all fairness. Enfield Town.
Find this with everyone.
Enfield Town at home, Hornchurch away, Haringey at home, and finish with Worthing away. So that's not healthy either. Who else have we got down there? East Thurrock. East Thurrock's fixtures are Bognor Regis away, Wingate at home, Cray away, and Horsham at home. And who else was down there off the top of my head? It was
Leatherhead, isn't it?
Leatherhead, yeah.
Leatherhead fixtures coming up are Wingate and Finchley away, Folkestone and Victor at home, Kingstonian away, Potters Bar at home.
Mersham.
And Mersham. Let's have a look what they got. They have got.
They've also got a game in hand, Mersham, as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got 5 games. So they've got Crimson Casuals at home, Potters Bar away, Bognor at home, Wingate away, Shortland at home.
Yeah. Like you said that, but we just had a message from Darren Wyder, I think his name is. Apologies if we pronounced it, but he's even said, look at the, you know, the Conference South at the bottom of that, how tight that is with Welling United, etc. You know, no one ever thought Welling United would end up being in the Eastern Premier League a few years ago, and what's gone on there. But there's a few that's really tight. I think every league is, Dave. Like I said, I was looking at the South East playoff positions and who's got who, and I was like, oh my God. You know, between Herne Bay and Ramsgate, I think who's going to take that place, and it's really tough. But that's what it is. Every single league, and you know that I think that's what's made it really good this year. That every league, you know, all right, there's some winners, big winners in Bracknell, Worthing are going to win by distance, and Hastings are going to win by distance as champions. But you know, everything else has been so tight.
And I think it's the first time really that no one's really run away with it, other than maybe a Banbury and a you know,
Bracknell.
Yeah, Bracknell now have run away with it.
If you say that Hastings can still, they're still 12 points clear, but if that ain't running away with it, I'm not too sure what is.
But they haven't run away with it. But
yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind one saying I ain't run away with it when you're 12 points clear. Would you take that, Marcel, now, being 12 points clear with 4 games to go?
I'll take 2 points clear. That's what.
Tell you what, Dave, I'll still be in the pub.
I think is it just the draw they need now, Hastings? They've got good goal difference as well compared to Ashford.
Yeah, it's 12 points, 12 games, so 4 games. So I think they needed the win Saturday to they just need a point. And like I said, they've got some good games, and rightly so. And we said, Dave, we'll go before COVID. I know you said it, but Worthing and Hastings were basically nearly there anyway, weren't they? Before it got sort of.
Yeah, I mean, there was clubs, wasn't there, that you looked out for, I suppose, in that COVID situation, in the likes of Worthing, Hastings, and Ware probably being the other one as well, that were up there and running away with it as such, and then they got sort of smacked on the backside, shall we say, with COVID, and it's caused them problems. Where maybe they're in that sort of playoff position in the South Central, in the Southern League, so they're in and around it as well. So hopefully the 3 clubs will get there, or at least 2 of them will, I would have thought. But hopefully all 3 of them will get their just desserts and get the promotion that they thoroughly deserve, because missing out on it on previous years. But so I mean, moving on to Sheppey. I mean, guys, for people that don't know, Keith knows a lot more about Sheppey than I do. So I mean, let everybody know about Sheppey and what's going on, and how close are we to promotion.
Gareth, do you want to start off introducing the club?
Yeah, can do. Yep. So, little old Sheppey United, as people like to call us, we're step 5. So obviously we're in the same sort of division as Chatham Town, Deal Town, Hollands and Blair, who we've got in the final of the week. So, yeah, we've only sort of been back about 9 years ago. Many people might have remembered us from the old Kent League many, many years ago down at the old ground, but the club kind of fell away, was extinct for a number of years. And yeah, it's brought back about 9 years ago when Matt Smith and Ernie Batten brought it back together, back to where we are now at Home Park. And yeah, we've come a long way. Obviously, Marcel's a big part of what we're doing at the moment. Just secure promotion back up to step 4, which is fantastic. We've got 1 cup final to play, and we've got a semi-final on Wednesday night. So yeah, we're sort of looking to push back on and looking forward to finding out what division we're going to be in next year at step 4.
I think it's a bit obvious what division you're going to be in. I'll give you that one. I don't think that ain't going to be too hard to take. Just quick, just a quick question. Obviously, Dave, this is go back to Sheppey. I used to play against Sheppey at their old ground. It was quite unique. I think we spoke about it before, Gary. They used to have unique floodlights. They were yellow. Lovely ground. Big support then. Really big. You just said back into. When was the last time you was in the club were in step 4?
I think when that was the old Kent League. So I can't recall it. It's well before my time.
I think it was around 33. I just recall a recent tweet around 30 years ago. I can't remember the exact date, and I'm sure there's a few fans watching who'll correct us, but I recall being around 30 years, approximately 30 years ago now.
Yeah, down at the old Botany Road.
Yeah, where it's sort of, what happened to the club, which was really sad, and now where you are, just tell everyone sort of the hard work that's gone in to get you to where you are at the moment, because, you have got great following, and that always helps, but, it isn't easy just to sort of pick yourself up, especially the league you're in as well. I think, Dave, you was talking about Walthamstow a little while ago, and I know you don't know the Skeffel League too well, but there's some really big, strong clubs in the Skeffel League, and, if you just tell a few people that are listening what it's like there.
Gaz, do you want me to take this?
Yeah, if you go for that one, Mars.
Yeah, so I joined the club about 3 years ago. I joined in capacity as a first team coach, and from that first time that we joined, the project was promotion. That's what we were after. We had the facilities, we had the fan base. The club is quite unique in the sense that it represents an island, and it's the only semi-professional club in the island, so it really draws in the community. I was really drawn in by the impact they had in the community, and the project began from recruitment, in the way that we set up the coaching sessions, and we were unfortunate in both of the previous 2 years because of the COVID. I was quite convinced that last year would have been very successful, the side that we had. Then we, in the summer, we began again the recruitment of the new players after we lost a few, but we never really lost sight of our project. Our project was always promotion. We've worked very hard in creating a culture at the club where players can come. They learn. It's a learning culture where they're always learning, but it's also really important for them they can perform freely. So that was the sort of the culture that we wanted to create. Once we create the culture, then we create an identity in the way that we want to play. Ernie and I spoke a lot in terms of how we want to play our game, and we both came to the conclusion that we want to simplify rather than make complex tactics. We simplified our way of playing, broke down the team on the ball and off the ball. We've identified our culture of play, and if you look at our games, particularly this year, we've set up the same tactics, we played the same manner, everything has always been about consistency. And then once we've identified the way that we play and we want to play the game of football in a way to draw the audience in, we then identified the players, so that the third on the list of priority became the player recruitment. And then from then onwards, that's where the journey began. We've recruited players. It's been an ongoing process. Even in recruitment, I remember going back in the summer, we broke it down into stages. So we recruited a side that could take us up to September while still keeping up with the top. And they did. And then around September time, there were a few movements going across the league above us. So then we refreshed the squad, 2 or 3 players in. And we've kind of followed that strategy throughout, really. In terms of how we do it, it's not a lot of magic into it other than the fact there's honest, hard-working effort. We've got a very expanded coaching team now. There's 5 coaches. We call everyone in our area the coaching team, so everyone's got their own roles. Everybody comes from a different background in terms of education and experience, and we all, play our part in making sure the players are coached correctly, are looked after correctly, and the environment is correctly, created for the players for them to perform. And as things stand, it's looking healthy for us to go in the league above next year. And if it continues this way, then we could look to finally get the reward that I feel the club deserves after 3 years of full-time commitment.
Is it two up from your league this year, or is it?
No, David, it's the same as it's 1 up, but then out of the, if I'm right, Marcel, I think there's 14 leagues.
16.
16. I think is it the top 10? Sorry, the top 10 on points per game get automatic promotion, and the other 6 play the 6 third from bottom teams at step 4 on points per game.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
and obviously, but they're already in that by. I think you're top, or whoever it is out there. You're in the. I think it's top 2, the Skeffel League, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah. As things stand, as a runners-up, so whether it be between us, Chatham. I mean, Glebe's still in it. Yeah. If it turns out, then we have a very good opportunity to play step 4 next year as a club.
I mean, I'm just looking at the league here, and it's from your website, so hopefully it's up to date from this week. But you played 35.93, Chatham 34.88, Glebe 33.74. Yeah. One of the questions for me is that, like, last year there was a massive swap around, wasn't there, of teams, even step 5, and a couple of them that sort of came to mind when I was looking down this list was Tower Hamlets, Punjab United, of course, who were also in the Essex, if I remember rightly, were in the Essex Senior League.
No, there wasn't, mate. No,
Hamlets
always been. Tower Hamlets were. Hamlets were in the Essex that come across, but not Punjab.
Right, okay, so some people used to say to me that that literally that your league, the Skeffel League, was a lot more harder than maybe the Essex Senior League. Does that prove a point? Tower Hamlets rock bottom?
I don't know. I think it'll be very difficult to judge. I mean, I've never really paid attention in terms of which league is the strongest. I wouldn't know how you would assess that. All I know is that even though looking at that league, it looks like we've won a lot of the games, I can assure anyone that doesn't know much about the Skeffel, I can't recall a team that we've turned up and then we felt that we're going to comfortably win this game. Starting from Tower Hamlets, who happened to be at the bottom, all the way up to on Saturday when we played Deal Town. It's a very, very competitive league. One thing that struck me the most this year is a very young league where there's a lot of young, talented players in our league, which is pleasing. And in my opinion, that's what Step 5 should be about, giving young players the opportunity to experience senior football. It's an incredible league. We've had an incredible journey these 3 years, a very disappointing, and we've experienced a lot of heartaches. But looking back in a 3-year journey, it's been a phenomenal experience for us as a club, and we've grown in that journey.
And also, you could break 100 points this year as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a potential, but until it's done, it just remains a potential.
But I must admit, I saw the goal against Deal Town on social media. I've seen it about 4 times today. I'll be honest, that it's a fantastic goal. Did you see it, Kay?
Yeah, no, I've seen it, mate. Yeah. I've seen quite a bit of Sheppey's play on video. Yeah, I know a lot of the players, Dave, that they're a very, very, very good side. And we said from day one, I think even the teams that were sort of looking at trying to get out of the relegation, I know they're talking about it now, Dave. They have been, even the Whitballs, the Phoenixes, all of them, and I know they're hoping that they wouldn't have played the team that was, if it would have been in the Skeffel League as runners-up, because if it was Sheppey, Chatham, you know, maybe Glebe. I know Glebe lost quite a few players now because of obviously what's happened at Sevenoaks, but, you know, you wouldn't have fancied them. Just going back to your question about the Essex League, listen, Walthamstow are very, very good and strong.
Yeah, I've seen a few games.
I think if you look over the last 6 or 7 years and just look at the FA Vars, it gives you a rough idea. And a lot of Skeffel sides have either made the final, got to the semi-final, you know, and that's a very, very difficult trophy to get to. So they've got to be strong sides in that. And what you'll also find, Dave, is that the southeast division of the Easterman League is obviously what we would have called the old Kent League. Most of the teams are from around that area. Yeah. Obviously, then you've got to throw in your Chichesters, your
Whitehall, Burgess Hill.
Yeah, Whitehall, Burgess Hill. You know, the few there, but most of them are what have come through what used to be called the old Kent League to Skeffel League. So, when Sheppey and Chatham do actually play in it, there's going to be a hell of a lot of more local derbies. Yeah. You know, you've got 2 more Kent League teams coming in. All right, you might lose 2 out the 2 or 3 from that area. You know, heaven forbid Whits will do, which I hope they don't. I think they still could stay up. And Phoenix both had brilliant results at the weekend. You know, you've got East Grinstead and still Whitehall, or that still hanging around there. But you know, as Marcel and Gary know, you know, once they come in the league, they're going to have a massive local derby at Sittingbourne, which they haven't had for years. You know, they've got Faversham. It's very, very competitive, and all them players come from there, and that is why that league, both leagues, are very, very tough.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, I don't know about if the guys have seen this as well. I mean, over the years, over the last sort of, if you take a couple of COVID years out of it, normally a side that comes up, they normally do pretty well, don't they? They normally, you know, they don't sort of hang around the lower ends. They're always up there pushing playoffs in that first season. I mean, would that if you're up in that step 4, which is likely that you will be, would that be what, you know, Sheppey will be looking at next year?
Yes, that's an accurate statement. If you look at the last team that won our league was Cray Valley. I mean, the guys are still up to about 3 or 4 weeks ago, probably a little bit longer, they were competing for the title. Now they look very healthy in a playoff position. They won our league. If you look at the Corinthians who went up this year, I think they're having a fantastic season themselves. So it takes a lot to win this league. And obviously the teams that do win it, you know, they have every potential to go and be very competitors in the league above. We, as a club, we have the very same ambition. You know, we're a club that we can sustain what we have. We've got the resources and we're looking to compete next year as well. And yeah, that's our number one objective. I mean, Gary, myself, Matt and Ernie had the meeting on Thursday. We spoke about the objectives of next season. Anything you want to add, Gaz?
No, I think you're right. I think we're very fortunate with the fan base that we have, that, you know, it allows us to wipe our own nose, if that makes sense, in that, you know, we will remain within the budget. That means we can continue to operate. And, you know, just this weekend alone, I think we had 450 supporters into the ground. So, you know, and only pushing up to the league next year. And as Keith just said, those more local derbies with the likes of Sittingbourne and Faversham and Ashford, I think will only push the gates higher and allow us to sustain where we are.
Yeah.
It's great to see, Dave. It's a great story, mate, because like I said, going back years when I knew Sheppey, the previous, and what happened to them, and you know, there were, I think for a good few years, Gary, people were going, "Oh, this club's not going to come back," and there was little whispers, "Yeah, they're trying," and to do it in such a short period of time, and you know, and it has gave the local community a massive lift, especially with being a 3G now. You can, you can attract all the, you know, the community to the ground as well, and as you say, Dave, you need to, you know, take a trip down there, mate. You'll be blown away. It's, you know, what they've done over there, and actually going onto the island, as you said as well. it is different.
Yeah.
It is quite incredible though. You get that, that they've got, when a team in that sort of step 5 comes up, they've got that sort of winning mentality, and it seems to carry on pushing through that, doesn't it? So you always seem to see that. I mean, like there's a hashtag this year as well that they're up there and fighting. So the signs are good.
It's not just that, Dave. I think having done it, and I know myself. As myself said, the league, but like that league is very strong below, so you've got to be exceptionally good to come out of it as well. And when you're in a club, especially like Sheppey and Chatham as well, Chatham have had them. I know they've been in the league,
absolutely,
come down, but they're completely a different club to what were in the Eastern League before. Their new, their chairman sort of turned their club around. They've gone 3G. Their stadium is absolutely fantastic as well. Their gates have rocketed through the roof. They've become more of a community club. And they're going to be a massive, force as well. And like I said, it's a really good level. And you've got that bounce, you've got that enthusiasm of the club as well. And the supporters will carry you. And you need to be, because like I said, there's some big clubs at that level that are fighting relegation. And it just gives you the rough idea of how strong that the leagues are, north, south or south central. But yeah, no, the teams that have come up recently, and to be fair, this is where I think Crimson maybe need a little bit more credit, but they've kept themselves the same club maybe for the last 4 or 5 years with personnel. They've sort of gelled quite well. Is why they've all done so well, because they have stayed together and they've all been big, strong clubs.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Dean, a friend of ours, of course, Mr. Kent Non League. He's just come and say, I enjoy listening to Marcel talk about his club and the game.
Sorry, Dave, say that again.
So Dean from Kent Non League, he's turned around and said, I enjoy listening to Marcel.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dean. Andy
Gray's has come back as well and said it was 32 years ago.
Yeah, I've just got the same message from one of the fans, yeah. So, yeah, it's a remarkable story, and it's good to see an island, being represented as step 4.
Mm. So with all the success you've had, because if I'm right, you've already won 1 cup, haven't you?
Yeah,
maybe last year, but it's won in the trophy this year. And obviously, you're in a very good position with a few games left to go, and the other semi-final and final. How hard is it not to have one eye already on next season when you've got so much more, achievements that you can do at the moment this year with your club? And also, again, and hopefully I'm not taking nothing away from you, but obviously where I live, I'd say Chatham were the favourites to win the league this year.
Yeah, I agree.
And you've really sort of, not excelled, because everyone knew you were going to be, you're going to run them close. But to come actually, hopefully, on touchwood, but on top, it is a humongous achievement that you've done, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if we were to reflect now, we'd be very proud of what we've achieved so far, particularly if it looks like that we have got the secured promotion. But, we've remained humble throughout the season. If you look at our journey, we've always kept one game at a time. We had that philosophy, just focus one game at a time. Our enthusiasm wasn't necessarily to win the league or win medals. It's just to win a game of football. And that's spread across the team. We focused on winning next game. We invested, I thought, smartly in a big squad this year. So rotating the players has been a big part of our journey. So going to your question, how we'll manage that, don't forget that we've got a very experienced backroom staff, and Ernie and Matt, these guys have been and lived football for quite some time. I've been involved in non-league senior football. This is my 9th season now. We've got some very good coaches. So we use our experience in how we manage in terms of preparing for next season. It really has helped us, if it looks like we've got the promotion, that we've actually started planning for next year in terms of we're looking at the pre-season, looking at player recruitment. We've begun that thought process without necessarily affecting the journey that we've got ahead. We'll just focus on one game at a time. And that's, we've remained humble throughout the season. I believe that's been one of our key strengths. And we'll continue to do so right to the end.
And what sort of structure have you got through the club, Marcel, sort of with youth or, reserves, 23 or whatever you've got? Just
do you know what? That Gary should be taking this, because I'm very, very proud, and I'm actually very honoured to work with Gary and the job that he's done at youth structure. We've got a team from under 8s all the way up to under 23s. I work very closely with the 23s and 18s manager. It's the same manager, Ross. And the amount of players that we've brought through is brilliant. This year, for the first time, we've also included the girls team. So we've got, I think it's an under 14s girls team. So more and more, the club is becoming as inclusive as a club, what I think a non-league club should be, always representing the island. So I'm very actually proud to be part of Sheppey, and what we do for the community and the way that we engage with the community. It's a real pleasure of mine to be part of that journey. So yeah, it's a great club to be part of.
I mean, I've just had somebody on YouTube come in from Sheppey Red. He said it was 1991 was when we were relegated from the Southern League.
Okay.
Sheppey are guaranteed to finish top 2, and the Skeppel are guaranteed to have their runners up in top 10. So Sheppey are promoted as it stands. And he said Chatham also need 2 points to guarantee promotion.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go. Well, Dave, we'll start a war argument off here, because Darren again has come back and said it was 1989, 1990. Okay. And also, just going for what you said there as well, Marcel, Lee Allen's come and said, plus a post-16 full-time academy led by Jack Midson starting in September as well, the club's going.
Absolutely. So that's part of the project. And I think that Jack and Ernie and Matt, along with Gary, they're looking to expand that even further. And that's, again, it's another opportunity for the young boys in the island to get educated whilst continuing their football journey. So yeah, it's an expanded football club, and it's great for the island.
I mean,
so, Gary, question for you. Go on, mate.
So Sheppey just come back and he's right. 1990-91, we finished bottom of the Kent League.
Okay.
There you go. But one of the things I would say to you though, Marcel, you might want to sort of like, move it forward as quick as you possibly can. You want to make sure you've got your budget for next year before Gary spends it all on his builders.
The club is, well, like I explained earlier, it's a club. The backroom staff are very experienced, and both Ernie and Matt are very experienced businessmen alongside the footballmen. So everything is split. So the investment, just like it's done. And there's no surprise to me that the club has expanded as quickly as it has in 9 years' time. A lot of clubs invest a lot longer than that to get to the success of Sheppey. And it just goes to show that if the right people with the right philosophy look after a club, you can fast forward that success.
That was going to be my question to you, Gary. Obviously, I know we spoke before. Is that have you been surprised how quickly the club has sort of progressed as a whole? Gary, then builders cemented you or something?
Maybe his line's gone.
He's gone. He's frozen.
Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah.
I was just.
You there?
Oh, it's back again. Back again.
Did you hear the question, Gary?
Am I surprised with how quick?
Yeah.
With the success. Yes and no. Yes, in so much of 9 years is very quick. If you look at the facilities and the grounds and the infrastructure that was there 9 years ago to now, I think it's very, very quick. But if you got to know the people behind the scenes, as Marcel said, with Matt and Ernie, the rest of the committee that's there, the drive that they've had to get Sheppey back, it doesn't surprise me, because if they want something, they'll make sure that they surround themselves with people that will make sure that we achieve it. So a bit of a yes and no, sitting on the fence, but no, they're so driven to bring the success to the community that because of who's involved, it's not a surprise to me.
So the actual, we're talking about the club and that. So I mean, it sounds to me from what Keith has said, what Marcel said as well, and yourself, Gary, it seems like a club that's definitely ready for step 4, maybe even higher. The way things are going at the moment, it seems like it's a really sort of well-based sort of club, got a real sort of concrete base, if you know what I'm trying to say, in it already, and really looking like it's pushing for a really, really bright future.
We certainly have those ambitions. We have the ambition to go to step 4. We have an ambition to recruit a competitive promotion side at step 4, and see where the journey takes us. But yeah, we do have those ambitions as a first team, and I feel that as a club, I look at the Ryman Prem clubs, and I don't see a lot of difference in terms of the structure, fan base, and the rest of the facilities that follow with it. So the club is ready, and I feel that in terms of the first team, because it's the first team that has to get you there, we definitely have those ambitions next year. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I know Keith's saying it's a surefire thing. and I'm assuming he means Isthmian South East next year. But is that? Do you think that is definitely concrete? When when people are on here saying that you come out of the Southern League, I mean, is that definitely? Do you think that's where you expect it to end up?
I think they've got more chance unless, sorry, Marcel, they've got more chance unless they give them a ferry across the water, so they have to go to Canvey.
But if the rules of the only issue that I have is I'm always wary of how the FA will always restructure the pyramid to suit the, that's the only thing that I'm fearful of. And the only thing that's guaranteed is a top spot. Now, if it turns out that two teams can't go up, I think it would be an awful shame for Kent football in general, for the Isthmian League. I feel that Sheppey as a club and Chatham as a club are two clubs that would make Isthmian South a better place. I feel that the two clubs will benefit itself. And I also feel that Step 5 would be eventually better off without the two big clubs into it, because the competition then can be balanced out. And there are many clubs still at Step 5 who would stand a great chance of progressing without the presence of Sheppey and Chatham. So I think for the better of Kent football, that both clubs move up this year in whatever order, whether it's Chatham the winner or Sheppey the winner. I think both clubs are ready to go to Step 4 now.
Dave, what makes you think that then one won't? Because it's a done deal already. It goes geographically. So both will definitely go into the Eastern and South the South East. And I know Kelly might be ringing me in a minute, but it's just where they are in the pyramid. Sorry.
No, I'm saying they both go up. I wasn't saying they won't both go up. What I was asking was, is it definitely going to be Isthmian South East, or could it be, I don't know, Southern Central, Southern?
Oh, I see.
That's what
it will definitely be.
With too far in Kent to go anywhere else.
Yeah, it will definitely be geographical. Someone like Chichester or whatever that way will get. And it also depends who comes down as well, Dave. If you look, just say heaven forbid they don't. If Cray Wanderers come down, then that could get pushed into that league as well. So, and obviously going up as well at the South East, you've got to look at obviously Hastings. Where might they put them? We spoke about that with Billy as well. Could they think, oh, you're far enough over? But I can't see that now. With obviously they can't shift them with Bognor and Worthing. Well, Bognor's still staying it, but the two teams that are coming up, where they are in Kent, they've got to stay in it. The only, like I said, ones that would change would be, I would say, Chichester or anything like that. Maybe even Whitehall, but I can't see that. But no, it's a two-gone conclusion. It's already done.
Yeah, the reason I asked for is because when you saw that, the stature of what someone's predicted where the leagues are going to be next year, they had people like Walthamstow and at the time Stansted, who were sort of in that sort of second runners-up position.
I can see that. I can see that only geographically, though, because if you look where sort of Stansted and Walthamstow are just on the border where they were debating about Barking as well, weren't they? Because they got put in it a few years ago in your league.
Yeah,
I can see that side.
Yeah, because they were doing Harlow, where Hertford, FC Romania in the Southern League Central, according to the makeup.
That's because it's sort of going that side. But there's only always been one league that was always geographically nearly spot on, and that was the South East.
I mean, yourself though. I mean, with the leagues. I mean, a bit what you were saying. It was quite funny. I was thinking about it as you were talking earlier on. If you take those two sort of big sides out of that league, some of these other chairmen that are sitting in that league must think, great, I hope Chatham disappear, and I hope
you say that, Dave. But again, I'm gonna go back as well and say to you, you've got Glebe in there, but just say, and if the bottom two as it was now come down, okay, just say it was done today. Phoenix, great club, Whitstable, a big club, so they're going to sit there and think, oh, they're in it again. Or you could look elsewhere of teams coming up. I think Larkfield have come up, haven't they, Marcel? If I'm honest, and I think
it looks like is it Stanfield?
Yeah, Stansfield up, and isn't Larkfield? I don't know what's happening, but
Larkfield's in the playoffs as things stand.
Playoffs, yeah, and obviously again, Dave, again being in Kent, they've just had a little bit of I would say a financial boost towards them as well, so they're going to be quite strong. So. What you'll find is that any league, people could come up. The people in the Eastern Prem are saying the same about, oh God, Hastings are coming in. Could be Ashford, could be whoever, Welling United or whatever could come down. every league's got the same, where these big clubs will either get taken by another one, or another one will come in. Just go back for a few years when Dulwich went out. Everyone went, "Oh, that's the crowd's gone in the Eastern and Prem." Now look.
I mean, somebody said that to me actually over the weekend. You know, they're talking about the Eastern Prem, and they were saying, "Oh, great, we'll get rid of Worthing because they're a powerhouse. That's good. We'll shift them out." And I said, "Yeah, but hang on a minute." I said, "Start looking at the league above. You could end up with Chelmsford coming down, into that league. You could end up losing, say, I don't know, say we were talking earlier on. You know, we were worried about Mersham and Brighton. So they could drop out, and all of a sudden you're putting in now maybe Hastings, Averley, Bracknell." And all of a sudden you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, that's now possibly on paper going to be tougher next year than what it is this year because of the amount of power that's coming down or coming up.
It just shows what strength there is in non-league football at the moment, Dave. You know, Bracknell will go across to the Southern League, without a doubt. But yeah, you know, again, no spit or Averley, they'll be strong. They've been in there before, but you know, with their gates, it's just still miles better than what they used to be. You know, they're not on the sort of size of Hastings are, and like I said, you know, they had 3,000 there at the weekend. You know, that's major. That's major. You know, that is Dulwich Hamlet style when they were in the Prem. You know, if you can get over 3,000 people coming through your gate every week at that level, you're talking. You know, some football league clubs just about get that. If not, you know, you'll be playing Celtic and Rangers if you're Scottish. So, you know. No disrespect to any Scottish people out there, but you know, that is just the beauty. And like I just said, in the leagues above, you're going to have, you know, Dover are coming down into the conference. Maidstone could go up with Dartford. There's some massive sides the other way. Welling could come down as well. Like we said, it's exciting times for football. It's exciting times for football. And I think if you turn it around on the two lads we're sitting here talking to now. If I said to them, do you know you could be, you know, one league away from playing Welling United? That would go years ago. You're having a laugh, aren't you? Welling United were nearly in the conference. We were just about putting brand new LEDs in our floodlights. And now, you know, 12 months, there's a league of difference. There could be a league difference. And that is our brilliant of football. And that is the good thing about our pyramid.
Is that a scary thought, playing Welling?
No, we played. Ironically enough, we played Welling last season, the FA Cup first FA Cup round or whatever. I think it was a third qualifying round. We played them at home, so we had an experience with Welling last year.
Of course, if they do restructure these leagues again, you know, and move people sideways like they've done previously, you could even have a trip to Guernsey.
That'd be exciting. Yeah, absolutely. We welcome any competition in whatever.
Yeah, I think Guernsey will stay where they are, Dave. I think. I
mean, of course, the other journey looks like it's not going to happen at least for another season, doesn't it? With Jersey, it looks like that's not going to happen at least for another year. But that will be interesting. But I mean, if you did,
Dave, that's another thing as well. You've got to look at the leagues. Beckenham Town. Where will they get put? As you know, the lads from Sheppey know. You know, they got moved sidewards this year that were really challenging the three of yous last, you know, over the years. You're talking about football pitches and 3G. You go down there, you'd never be converted to 3G when you play on their pitch. But again, a club for years been knocking on a door that will fancy himself, and they will hope to be in the southeast as well. I'm not sure what will happen to them because that is, you know, that's a tough one where they might get put.
Do you envy these people that have to put these teams at the leagues at the end of the season? Because for me, they seem to be on a no-win situation wherever they are.
You won't keep everybody happy, will you? There'll always be someone who doesn't get the division they want.
I mean, geographically, I think, Dave, the only good thing about now is that the pyramid after this year will be perfectly formed. And the issues we've had before is that we've been slightly too many teams trying to get promoted, as obviously the lads below know, when it was only always one. And teams getting relegated. Now there's exactly the right teams at every single level, from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, 32, the way it should be. So you sort of know geographically you can't help that. You know, there's always someone that's going to be upset, as we've always had before. You know, with your Bishop Stortfords and things like that have been having to travel miles, and you know, your Hendons and your Met Polices this year and your Walton Casuals. but that's it. But I will still say to any of these clubs, and I would say this to Sheppy, the two lads sitting in there, if they went, sorry, gents, you're in the Isterman North, they would say, well, all right, but we'll have that.
Anything for step 4. I think we worked so hard for it. We just wanted experience in now.
Yeah. I mean, you were just talking about there. I mean, going to another team that was, I suppose, always in my eyes, were always sort of like a small side, but are absolutely flying this year as well. He's somebody you just mentioned. He Met Police.
Yeah. They've always been a great club, you know, and with Jim and that there, and Gavin's come in and done a fantastic job. And again, they've been a club that they know their sort of their budgets and their levels, and the players do, and they don't have a massive turnaround of players. You know, they're playing again in a fantastic stadium on a great pitch. You know, and you know, I think the rules are you can't get done for speeding or anything if you play with them. That's a joke, by the way. You know, so it helps now. But you know, and they've got that togetherness, and they've done ever so well. But you could say the same with Hendon and things like that, Dave. You get that in a club sometimes, that just have this little bit togetherness. They're all together, you know, all similar off the same hymn sheet. And mostly ain't got anyone with hidden agendas in the team and looking to upset the apple cart. And I think clubs like that have to choose their players properly to fit into their scenario. And Marcel mentioned it earlier about the structure and what, you know, the way they're looking to do things. And sometimes clubs get a little bit led astray where they think, oh, we're there, I need to get them in, and it ain't what their club ethos is about, and it makes them go another direction. And I've been pretty experienced to that over the last 5 months.
I agree. I agree with that.
And how we're going into this sort of step 4. I mean, do you have a different philosophy around picking your pre-season friendlies? So I mean, and how far back do you know? How early do you start looking at them to go? Well, look, you know, we need to make sure that we're up and ready at a certain standard to going into step 4. So does your mindset change from who you pick for your pre-season?
Ironically enough, we were just planning we're just looking at the pre-season now. We've already begun, you know, the thoughts of pre-season now. For us, because we've had, even when we were a step 5, you know, because the ambitions were to win the league, we always saw ourselves as a side that has got the ability to compete at step 4. So in terms of the opposition that we're picking, the only thing that we're choosing this year is we're looking for around 6 friendlies, but we're considering, because our home pitches is artificial grass, we're looking to make sure that our away games are played in the grass. So this is sort of difference between this year to last year. But in terms of the actual structure and opposition, it'll be very similar. You know, last year we were playing step 3 and step 2 sides in friendlies. We had 6 friendlies last year, of which 3 were step 3 and 1 was step 2. So it'll be similar opposition. The only difference is we're looking now to consider making sure that we play enough grass pitches, so it's not all artificial grasses, just so we get used to it.
Was that what you used to do, Keith? I mean, did you used to look at that as well and look at your pre-season games in that sort of way?
It was difficult, Dave, because obviously this year I didn't have a chance for pre-season, so maybe the first 10 games with that. But the couple of clubs we've been at, sometimes the finances come into it. So you try and get like your local derbies, like when we was at VCD or Thameslink, you'd want Dartford well in if you could, that could bring a few, or Dulwich. Obviously, you know, if you're lucky and you can get a pro side down, you would do that. But obviously, then you would look at, you know, your leagues. We tried to get a lot of teams that I was thinking would be around the playoffs at our same level. So it would be competitive from day one. So you're sort of playing the top sides. I was very rarely played a side from a lower level unless I need, or if I did, I would play that midweek so I could look at others. And it wasn't being disrespectful. I was just like, do you know what? I just want to get us up and running and sort of as quick as you possibly could. So on the other side, I didn't like too many teams highly above you that would give you a good hiding either. Or you're chasing shadows and you're not, you know, you're not even getting a touch of the ball, because that didn't give us, you know, over years of experience. It was great for the club to get, a big gate through, but it was no, you know, you might as well just wrote that Saturday off, because you could say, oh, a bit of fitness chasing a ball, but it was no benefit to us either. So I think you've got to think what's right for, you know your players. I think if, just say, for instance, the lads here are going to keep most of this stuff for next year. They already know what they're sort of going to come back like fitness-wise pre-season. They know they're going to be on a high. They're just going to maybe want to keep things ticking over, I would think. That Marseille's right about the 3G. There might be a couple of more sides with 3G next year in that league as well. Predominantly, the pitches grass pitches are fairly decent at that level, if I'm honest. There's a couple of absolute horrendous shockers, but there's a couple of absolutely really nice ones as well. It is each to their own with I know some managers that just all they do is play games. They might have 9, 10, 11 games, and you're like, wow. Some managers like having open trials and bringing players in for fun everywhere, and some are very, very set on their ways and go, do you know what? I've got my 18, 19 players. I'm going to deal with them, have 5 or 6 really good games. I'm going to work a lot in training and do it that way. So it's just, I think it depends on with managers. Obviously, if you take over a side in the summer, you're brand new, you might change things unless you're someone like Marcel and obviously Ernie that's been there all the time. Then it's just another season. With the only difference with them is that as they open the changing room door for the first time in pre-season, they'll be all running through it instead of waiting for them to turn up, because the buzz and the bounce waiting for that for August the 7th or 4th or whatever it is can't come soon enough, because and I can only tell you this of being there, that buzz is the biggest buzz you'll ever have, and it will go around and it will live you the whole season is, and Crimpton will still tell you about that now. It's unbelievable.
And I suppose it must be like for the players, it must be, if they haven't played at Step 4 before, it must be like a little, almost like a cup final for them that first day, or especially the game, the first home game. I would have thought, in front of your own fans at Step 4 will be something to behold, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think we've worked hard enough, to experience that feeling. So I think when it eventually does come, I think as a club, it'll be a good day for the club. And I'll imagine it'll be a very emotional time for the fans as well, because the fans have been part of this, heartache journey that we've gone through for the last 2 years. So I'd imagine for them it'll be just as emotional as the players.
Absolutely. Well, listen, guys, the time's flown by tonight. I've really enjoyed tonight, I must admit. And
thank you for having us.
You've been fantastic company coming on, and we do wish Sheppey all the very, very best for the rest of the season, your cup finals, your semi-finals, etc. And also as well, of course, for next year as well, we do, wish you all the very, very best, hopefully in that Isthmian South East as well. Of course, one thing I should say this week, because it always happens once a year, as it does for everybody else, but certain young man in the top left-hand corner, a happy birthday, sir, for Wednesday.
Cheers, mate.
It comes our birthday.
Happy birthday, mate.
Yeah, it's actually Dave's on Saturday as well.
Oh.
So it is, and obviously my little boy. Dave, also before we go, because someone has sent me a really nice message on here through our thing in James Sykes, and I just want to say to him, thanks, mate, for the message you just sent. I won't read it out because he sent it to you, but it does mean a lot, so I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, literally, mate. What happened was, from my personal opinion, I was absolutely devastated, absolutely shocked by your news. You know how much I think of you, mate, and I'm not just saying blowing smoke up your backside. I think you're probably one of the best managers in non-league football. So if there is a club out there and you want your club to go upwards, give him a call, because you need to, because the guy's phenomenal at what he does. From me and from Keith and from the boys from Sheppey, a massive thank you for joining us again tonight. We'll be back next week. Hopefully next week we're going to have Steve's going to join us, the Romford chairman. We're going to have a lovely little chat with him next week, because yet again, one of the nicest guys we've ever met in non-league football. And with the sad news that Romford will be going to Step 5 next year, but they won't be strangers to this show, because we'll certainly have them on during the year. But we'll have a chat with Steve next year. But again, a massive thank you to Marcel, to Gary, and of course to the legend himself, Mr. Mahon. And we will see you next week. Good night.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
See you later, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you. Take care.